We're at home, and we're going to do something different with this video. We're going to watch the video we shot of our last section hike and comment on it as we watch it, and see how that goes. So let's begin. So this is, where is this?
Fontana Hilton.
Oh, yeah, I can't see it very well.
This is outside the shower bathroom house at the Fontana Hilton. Just a little bit uphill is where the tent sites are, and then a little bit downhill from that is where the Fontana Hilton shelter is.
Thank you very much. This is Ron. He's our shuttle guy.
Hey.
He's been doing it the past 4 times. This is our last time with him. He doesn't go past Fontana, so we're happy to have had you along and
That's right.
hired you to do this.
Call
There you
Ron
go.
for your shuttle needs.
There you go. Now, all that being said, go take a hike.
Thank you very much, sir.
Have fun, guys.
Thank you so much, Ron.
Good to see you again.
Yep.
But I asked him to be on video this time because we've never had him on video before. We talked about him, but never got him on video. There he is. He's a great guy. He's an awesome guy. We highly recommend him to anyone who needs a shuttle.
He's a wealth of knowledge. He pretty much knows everything there is to know about the trail. Weather conditions, water conditions, bear activity, anything that you really want to know about that section that you're hiking at the time in that area. He's really good at letting everybody know what they're getting into out there.
Yeah, and he's really dedicated to the lifestyle out there. He hasn't raised his prices, and the entire time we've been going out there for 6-7 years, and his prices have always been reasonable. So yeah, big ups to Ron.
We're going to go check out a water.
This is us starting day 1 of our 4th section hike out of Winding Stair Gap. It was, what do you remember about this?
The start, Ron was telling us that we were going to be passing a waterfall, and neither one of us realized how close that actually is to the road. So if you want to get out and do, like if you're in that area and you don't want to do a full-on hike, but you want to get a little nice waterfall view, this waterfall that you'll see it comes up really quick here as we're on trail, and it's something you could do just a little out and back to the waterfall and still get some views out there if you don't want to do a full through hike or a full section hike.
Yeah, it's it was pretty close to the start, to the trailhead.
And where we were at Winding Stair, across the street from where the trail goes in on this side, there's a really nice parking lot that you can park at too.
I was like, interesting. I figured it'd be too heavy for most people. But if you're going to be out here for a while, that's the one to carry. Ooh!
I knew that we were doing this, but I didn't realize it was literally this morning. I've been turning this off and on all day. But I can still be in airplane mode because texting, right?
Yeah. You just can't connect to the internet. Man, I don't know. Yeah, you go across first. I want to see how much it bows.
Get used to this image, this visual, because this is literally the whole video. Is me following Sariah.
Sorry for that.
I think it heightens the experience. There's a good one of the waterfall because you get to see the trail as it is, and you get to see someone hiking on it as opposed to just a camera bouncing down the trail. So I think you get a better kind of perspective of how things go. And I tried to tape as much uphill and downhill as we could. I just run it for like a minute at a time and let it go.
We do stop a lot and take pictures and stuff like that. So, I mean, we're not always just walking, just hiking.
Yeah, we don't try to pull heavy miles. I mean, we're just section hiking. But we decided, I think we decided when we returned after 6 years to start taking our time and having more fun with it instead of trying to soldier through it and make it kind of a half miserable experience. We wanted to have fun. You know, we wanted to enjoy ourselves. And these past 2 times we've gone out, we have enjoyed ourselves.
And as you can probably tell here, it's already starting to incline. That's one thing on the Appalachian Trail is you're always going up or you're always going down. There's not a lot of flat ground.
Yeah, but there's some.
There is some, but not a lot.
This section had a lot of switchbacks.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. The climb.
Because there's some sections where you just look at it and go straight up for like a long period of time. Like Wildcat was that way. A few other peaks that we went up were that way. But it seems like in North Carolina they do a lot of switchbacks, which is appreciated. Except for until we got to day 2.
There you can see like there's like sometimes some logs that kind of build steps into the trail, and a lot of times they're really nice. They're just kind of nice gradual steps, and then a lot of times they're butt kickers and they're really tall for me to get up, and you're really pulling all your body weight up on those. So that I have a lot of trouble on, and you'll probably notice that I really start to slow down in spots like that. So this trip out, my pack weight always varies slightly. It just depends on how far we're going, how much food I've got packed, and what kind of extras that I take with me. I actually was a little heavier than my normal on this one, and because we were taking 7 days of food with us, so my pack weight with water and food was 27 pounds.
Mine eclipsed 30. Once I got everything in it, that's when I almost fell. Sometimes I'm trying to videotape what we're doing while I'm going over like not waterfalls, but like water sources and rocky areas, and I really need to get my poles out and keep my balance because I have terrible balance. So sometimes you'll see that. But every time you see me taping, I'm always holding both of my trekking poles in one hand and the camera in the other, which makes it a little unstable, but it gets the job done. The funny thing is I don't think we're going to remember where we were just based on what we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. I honestly thought that it would be more green when we went out this time, but they were still having snowstorms the week before we went out. So, I mean, you will see shots where there's a lot of green, and then you'll see some where it's really bare again like it was when we were there in the fall. So, I really underestimated how much sun we would be hiking in this time. So, and the temperatures did get up a lot higher than what we expected on some days. So it was pretty brutal when you were directly in the sun hiking.
Yeah, and I got pretty burnt on the back of my neck, and it just takes it out of you.
We got there in 9.
When you get burnt like that, because it's already hot. It was getting up to unexpected heat for us, like into the mid 80s, and with the direct sun from there not being a lot of leaves and already being burnt, it really wears you down. I mean, I've been on hikes or walks in the past where just from getting burnt, it really sucked the life out of me. So we're gonna have to do a better job in the future of regulating that. She has a hat on, So she actually was smart enough to at least do that and, you know, prepare in that regard. I didn't. I have a giant bulbous head, so I can't ever find a hat that fits. But I'm gonna have to find one because that sun is very brutal, and we're really working on being prepared for every eventuality. I don't know what we're climbing here, or what we're climbing to. I'm trying to remember. Unfortunately, I don't have the map on me like right now because it's on the phone that I'm using to take this. So I would pull up gut hooks and see where we're at. It is portion of the video, but I'm trying to remember from memory, and it's.
I mean, I think we were kind of on our way to where you would go to the Siler Bald
Yeah.
trailhead. The Siler Bald is a bald that's actually it is right off the AT, so it's not a part of the AT, but you can just take a detour and it literally takes you straight up there. However, the climb up to that bald was a really tough for me, so we
No, we
did
didn't
not go up.
Oh yeah. We went down to the shelter,
Right.
and it wasn't the best idea, but we needed. So I needed to use the privy, and I wanted to cook a meal for myself for lunch. So we just figured the shelter would be easy to get to, but the climb out of it was. You'll see it. We'll get to that because
Yeah.
I taped a little bit of it.
Because as much as you go up to get up to this point, once you go to the shelter, then it takes you right back down again.
Right.
So you're going closer down to the bottom, and then you have to hike all the way back up to where you were before to get back up to that kind of Siler Bald area.
There were a lot of these access roads I noticed on the trail
Yeah.
this time.
A lot of fire service roads.
I don't remember that many being in Georgia. Seemed like-
I think there's more in these sections, honestly, because we're in a section where there's a couple of balds back to back, and these are on balds are generally where they like to put fire towers, just because it's easier access to those points and more wide open for them to look for fires. So. And put stuff up there, so that might be why there's more in this section.
Yeah. I would say that this day wasn't particular. I don't remember it being particularly tough. I mean, it was because we just started and it was literally uphill almost the whole way out of Winding Stair.
Come here.
But it wasn't extreme up. I mean, it kind of looks like it is, but certain places it gets steep, but it felt, I mean, it seemed pretty gradual. I don't feel like we didn't really hit a wall until we climbed out of Siler Shelter. That's when it was like, okay, this is really tough now. Yeah. Wow. More of me falling.
I mean, obviously you can tell I'm slowing down because it's tougher for me than it is for him.
Where are we at here?
Oh, you can start to see the start of the shooing of the gnats.
Yeah. That's another thing we didn't prepare for. Because we've never had that experience, but we've never dealt with gnats on the AT in the past. And this time it was just
stay hydrated.
That's all it was. It was just gnats constantly every day.
Yeah, there was some.
This is probably because of all the moisture and all the rain from the previous weeks. And we just had to deal with. Oh, and yeah, now I remember. This is the campsite this is literally like a mile. I don't even know if it's a full mile away from Winding Stair.
Yeah. So a lot of people will, I'm assuming these are not through hikers. I hope to God they're not through hikers or section hikers. I hope this is people that are just kind of coming in for a one night and one and done thing, but sometimes you'll come across these stealth sites, these sites that are not really well defined. It's just kind of people set up camp here and they'll leave a bunch of trash behind, I'm assuming because they don't want to carry it out. And it's really frustrating for people like us because we're carrying probably way more than they are in weight, and we're carrying it for further distances. And then, if they don't pack it out, then we sometimes feel obligated to pack out their trash or whatever it is that they've left behind. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It just depends on where we're at. I mean, this one we had just started, so I don't think we took anything with us.
I just collected whatever I could and put it by the fire.
Yeah.
And hopefully somebody, from who's coming up just to camp could have grabbed some of it, maybe taken it back down. But we weren't going to carry it. This is the beginning of our trip. We weren't going to carry it to
All the way, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It was Wes or Bald, I think, that we got to as our first.
Wyatt Bald had
Bald.
the trash cans.
Yeah.
But we didn't know if they would or not. I kind of assumed they would, but we weren't 100%. But
Was it Wayne or Wyatt?
Wyatt. I mean, it could be Wyatt, I guess. But, oops, here's my shoes. But anyway, it just attracts bears, leaving trash and crap like that behind, so it's kind of aggravating.
I was particularly annoyed in that one because somebody took an empty fuel canister and threw it in a stream down below, and I went down and grabbed it and brought it up to the fire because I'm like, that's just wholly irresponsible. I mean, if you're gonna leave trash, just leave it where it's accessible, where somebody can get it out. Don't throw it into the woods. That just makes it even harder. But yeah, that was pretty. I was actually very close to the trailhead. I remember we were taking our time, no doubt.
Swinging Dick Gap is where
yeah.
we were at on this one.
It truly felt like when we were getting to these points, it truly felt like we were not doing very many miles, at least to me.
Yeah.
It felt like we were going extremely slow.
Yeah, I really felt like this is probably the slowest I have ever hiked.
That's what you say.
Is this section of trail, and I don't know if it's just because of my weight or if it's my health or if it's just that I don't know. I just noticed this time out I definitely went at a much slower pace than I think I've ever gone.
And this day we only did 7.8 miles. I think the last 2 days we do over 9. But just starting out fresh, it's like we always kind of take our time. We don't just hit the trail and run it, So this was just a particularly slow day, I remember. But we still did close to 8 miles by the end.
I think after about 6-7 years, you could watch one of those videos and not even recognize the trail. Oh boy. So, I say we've been hiking for an hour. We're to whatever this is. I've been checking the map. Slow going. I guess the good thing about coming out this time of year is you get a better shot of everything.
We ended up in this bubble of like 4 or 5 people who were through hiking that we were kind of leapfrogging around. And we met up with them either like at Wayabald or shortly after Wayabald at the next shelter, at Waya Shelter. Waya Shelter, I think, is where we all kind of converged for the first time.
That's way far up there.
And that, I believe, was the majority, like day 2 and our last day. we were kind of bouncing around with them and talking to them off and on. But I'm pretty sure Maria was the end of day one, and that was like the first real person that we got to talk to on the trail. But it was great because we were just wiped at that point. I mean, you'll see it because I stopped and tape a little bit of myself where we were. We were under this what do you call those?
I think it's mountain laurel.
Yeah, we were just sitting under a canopy of that, and she was coming up from the road and saw us and just decided to stop and have a cigarette. And we were probably there for what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, at least. We took a good long break there. It was nice and shaded, and just sometimes you just need to recharge, especially when it's hot.
Yeah, I found out that she and I have the same background, so we talked shop for a while. That was fun. I guess she runs a hostel.
She runs Laughing Heart Hostel in Hot Springs. And she bought it, I think she said 3 years ago, from the previous owner.
Panther Gap. What do you remember about that?
Not a whole lot. A lot of these gaps don't have road access, so it's just a gap in the mountain, and a lot of times you'll notice in these gaps that you'll see these stealth campsites, because I think it's just a good place for people to stop, get a nice view for their, evening, or just to take a break or what have you.
If there's one thing that would be said about the AT, there's a whole lot of places to camp. There's no shortage of places to camp.
There's not a lot of times where you go a really long distance without somewhere that you can hop off for the night if you so choose. I mean, there are a few places, just because of the terrain. There is nothing that it's too steep on either side, but sometimes we can still hang in those places because we're in hammocks. But in the flatter places like the gaps and stuff, you'll almost always find spots where people have camped.
Yeah, we're unique in that way with the hammocks, that we can tuck ourselves into places that people with tents can't get to. I think that we did that night one. Was that when we pushed on from Wine Spring?
Bald, not Gap. It's a bald.
Yeah, we had pushed on to Rocky.
We were 2 miles out.
Whatever.
So.
No, that was Cold Spring, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Cold Spring. That was day 2. That we pushed on.
It really does look exactly like.
I'm trying to remember where we camped here. It was before Wine Spring. That's where we the first night we camped, like maybe a tenth of a mile or 2/10 of a mile before Wine Spring, Camping Spring. I think this is us making our way up to Siler Bald. Well, not Siler Bald, but the Siler Bald area. It does all tend to look the same. But yeah, she's right. Like when she was talking about how there's no real canopy, no cover. We were not used to that. I mean, every time we've gone out, it's been lush and green, and we've had, been blocked from the sun for the majority of our trip. This is the first time where we had almost nonstop sun exposure the entire time, and it was pretty brutal. And I brought suntan lotion with me. I packed the extra weight because I was like, we're gonna need it. We're absolutely gonna need it, and we did. Absolutely. I mean, it did what it could, but we still got burned. I still got burned. Yeah. The one thing I could say, I decided to start shooting everything with a wide lens because I think it really helps accentuate the climbs and the descents. You get a better idea of the scope of like what we're doing, because when it was one-time zoom, it just feels like everything's flat. But wide, you get much more of a panorama view, so you get to take in more, almost like you would be if you were there, and you really get a more of a sense of, you can see the slope of the mountain that we're climbing. I think you get a much greater sense of the the scale of things and the steepness. But I try not to talk very much on these videos because this was my intent. I kind of threw this idea together when I was taping it. It's like, why don't we just do a commentary over what we're doing, see how that runs, and now we're doing it.
This is another thing. We're only shooting clips of us on these, but at this point we had not even gone down yet. So this entire time has been spent climbing this mountain.
Yep.
So, I mean, even though we're only doing clips of it, there's no lag between. We've just been climbing this whole time.
Yeah, that whole day one was like just uphill. But it really wasn't brutal.
So there, you can see me putting my water back, and I had the flavor packet in there with the electrolytes. So I can pretty much say at that point we were probably already getting really hot, because I usually don't start mixing that up until I'm starting to get wiped out from dehydration.
And you can see the gnats flying in front of the camera too. I mean, they were just all over. They're following us the whole time. Everywhere you went, it was a swarm of gnats. Trying to get a little bit of the views. I didn't realize what kind of views we were going to be seeing later on the trip, because I was like, well, might as well get the views while we can. But we got some really spectacular views on this little section. Overall, we only did 27.8 miles, I think, or 27.3 miles on this section. We were intending to do like 56, but...
Which I was mistaken. I kept telling everybody 75. I don't know where I got that number. I guess I was I don't know. I don't know where I got that. I don't know why I thought we were doing 75 miles this trip. So I apologize to anybody I told that, because that was definitely not right.
I'm trying to figure out where we're at. One of the rare flat spots.
You can kind of tell when you're starting to get higher up in elevation, because I feel like these mountain laurels tend to be kind of closer towards the top.
Oh.
A little stumble there. I had a problem picking up my feet this time, and I think that was really evident. There was a couple spots where I did that quite a few times, and I even actually had my left leg slide pretty far off the cliff on one section because I stumbled. But I mean,
I don't think I got that on video.
yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of towards the end of one of my days, and you get so tired. It gets harder to pick your feet up, and you really start stumbling a lot. At least I do.
That was the third day. We had just come down off of Western Bald, and that was an extreme downhill. I mean, you'll see it on our third video, but it's, we were tired. That's the first time since Blood Mountain where going downhill made us tired.
Yeah. It's more often I'm tired from pulling myself up, but not as likely that I'm tired from trying to keep myself upright. But that last day, which we'll get to it, but I mean, it was pretty brutal.
And this is also going to have audio from the trail intermixed. I'm just going to kind of fade it in and out. Depending on, because I know I said I didn't talk a lot. Sometimes I talked, sometimes I didn't. Luther doesn't know what's going on. But boy, it is like, how it just looks samey. This is one of the things I was saying, like, I mean, this is my view. This is what the experience I get when I go out on the AT, is following behind Sariah and seeing the same stuff. So I'm like, if I'm not looking at the ground, I'm seeing this, like what you're seeing now. And I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to appreciate the AT. Sariah loves the AT, but I've always had this problem with it just kind of being too samey and too, like not a lot of variety. And I really like variety in my hikes, and I really feel like enough of this gets tiring for me. But these past 2 trips we've gone out, and I think a lot of it has to do with some of the incredible views we've had, have kind of changed that perspective for me, or at least opened my eyes to the possibilities of what they're. Oh, now we're on that. Yeah, we're going down to Seiler shelter now.
Okay.
You can see the blue blaze.
Yeah.
We decided to go to Seiler.
Yeah, whereas everything before was going uphill
Right,
or
go to
flat,
the
you can now see that
eat
we're going
lunch.
downhill. And I wasn't sure how long this was because
Well, this is
it
good.
didn't say the mile marker on, because I never got far out at, so I'm still working with gut hooks.
So I thought
The
we were
Seiler
trying
shelter was the same
to get
mile
to it. I
marker
didn't know we were
as
going down.
distance as where we were. It was like 113.3.
This is a bad omen,
And my God, that's like
I'm
burning
in
my
front,
memory too. 113.3.
as you can see.
And because I got really upset
it didn't
as
say
we were
how
going
many
down
feet we
because
went
it was
down.
like
I wanna
half
show
a
the
mile.
elevation
We
difference.
went down. I'm like,
I
there's
didn't-
no
I mean,
way
it could have
this is
very
still
well just been like-
113.3.
Straight up and straight down. I wouldn't have known without
we
checking the
have this
elevation
saying,
chart, which I didn't.
what goes
check.
down must come up. So every time we do stuff like this and we go downhill,
But it's
we're
not
just
too
cringing
far off.
because we know it's either going to be
So
equal,
they say.
you know, equal elevation coming out, or it's going to be worse. And in this case, it was worse.
Yeah, I think
But it
that
does
we
look like we're
thought
going
if
back up.
we came back out on this side, it was going to be worse, that it was not going to be as bad on the other side, but it actually ended up being, I think, a worse climb coming out of the other side.
Man, I hate
Yeah,
downhill.
because you'll see it in a little bit after we get to the shelter. I get a little bit of what we experienced, and it's not like this. It's definitely not like this. So yeah, we're still making our way down. I think did we stop and get water here before we go to shelter?
I got it where I thought. I didn't know there was going to be another spot, but that's okay.
Whatever.
I got water back there, but here's another water source near the shelter.
This was day 1, so we didn't
That's flowing
really
even
pack
better.
water with us to different places.
Got some
Like we just kind of was rocking with the bottles that we had.
whole
And
lot
I
of
think
water.
we didn't even take
Compared to the last
a
time we were
CNOC,
out here,
yeah.
this is,
night 1.
I'd almost say
Yeah.
too much water.
So, yeah, you're not gonna. I didn't actually videotape us filtering water, but
But we're real close to the shelter now,
yeah,
so
day
we're
1 we just didn't get a lot of water.
bust out there, cook a meal,
And that's another
then go to
thing.
the bathroom.
This trip,
then,
I didn't feel.
We'll pick it up from there.
I didn't feel as panicky about water like I
Here's
have
another
in the past. I feel like I was
nice
keeping it
flowing
pretty well
water
in check.
source.
I mean, the water was
Probably
plentiful. You've
the
seen it
best yet.
already in the video we've had so
This
far.
water
So
at
many water sources, so many more than the last time we went. So I was at complete ease with the water.
I only have one trekking pole, so it's not great. Now we're making the approach to the shelter. It's a rustic old.
Just the
Shelter for sure.
we're up to now.
I think so.
I think I saw a little bit of it. You start to realize, like, every shelter is the same shelter.
Pretty much.
Like, there's very little difference between them.
Unless you get a double decker, sometimes they're a little different.
Yeah, that's the shelter.
And some are literally just the lean-to with no porch. But most of them have a little porch area where people cook.
What's that?
Oh, that was that bag.
Trash.
No trash.
Yeah, more trash that somebody's left behind.
And that probably was a Thru-Hiker.
Wow.
Um,
Balances.
Something that was
Way off.
pretty weird that we've seen a lot of this time, and I'm assuming it's because we're coming through right after the big bubble of Thru-Hikers, is we found a lot of discarded toothbrushes on this particular trip.
You know, I never thought to ask, or I wonder if they knew
There was a
what it
3-liter CNOC bag at the bottom left-hand corner.
Those two kids I
At that
asked.
post, you can see it right there.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Somebody just left a perfectly
Well,
good 3-liter CNOC bag.
Here we are.
Well, we don't
Seiler.
know. It had a hole in
Well,
it.
that's true.
Shelter.
But it looked fine.
I'm gonna bust out my
I
stuff.
picked it up and was looking at it.
Sarai's
It looked
gonna
good to me, but
go to the bathroom.
I think they just may have ditched it. If we needed an extra C-knock, I would have taken it, but we already have
We do it
to.
in the here or
But yeah, this is
Probably do it
every
over here.
shelter you'll
I don't
ever.
know, can you cook
Almost every shelter. is
under
this
a
same view.
canopy inside a shelter?
Look at all the burn marks on the table. People do it.
All right.
Yeah, there's that big fuel that I took with me. That heavy fuel. There's the Pika bowl.
Pika bowl to measure out the water I need for my ramen.
Yeah, and the Pika bowl is pretty good because it's got the measurements. You can fill it. It can be used as a dog bowl, and you can be used to measure water with, and then it folds down flat.
Well, we're still at the shelter. I think we're going to stay at I can't remember the name of it. Wine Spring Camp and Spring. Wine Spring Camp and Spring. It's a little off. And that's 4.2 Wine Spring Camp and Spring. It's 4.2 miles from here. And I think that's where we're going to make camp for the night. It all depends. If we get there in impeccable time, which I doubt, then we may push on to Wyabald, which is 6 miles away. So, don't know. And I said I was going to do this on video, so I'm stopping now.
And this is the first time in the AT that we gravity fed.
And it was going faster.
Because this is the first time we had a C-knock, and it was a game changer. Absolute game changer.
Best purchase we've made so far as hikers. Well, I guess after our hammocks.
Yeah, that was last time we went out. We had 2 6-year-old Sawyer squeezes. It was just grueling trying to push that water through, and all we had was the Sawyer bags. It was not fun at all, especially when it was so hard to find water that time. And I said after that, I'm either just taking our there's the trail and the climb out. You can see how rocky it is. I didn't really tape us going up because we really struggled going up that.
Yeah, I think it's so hard to see how difficult it is. That what he just panned over to was Seiler Bald, and that doesn't look like it's very steep going up it either, but it's kind of deceiving because you go up, it plateaus a little bit, and then you go up again.
Yeah. It kind of jets off to the right, but you can't see it from, down below. It's one of those deceptive climbs that everyone's familiar with. Where you think you're getting to the top, and then you finally catch the side of the next leg of up that you couldn't see from before. This will happen sometimes as I fiddle with stuff or whatever, Sariah gets ahead of me, especially early on downhills, because she does downhill. She used to do downhills faster than me. This time it seemed like we were both, I don't know, I guess day one you were kind of blowing past me downhill and on straightaways. I'm always faster than her on uphills though. I don't know why. Because I'm a fat man. On paper I shouldn't be faster going uphill, but I am. But you can just see from like this, there's no leaves, none whatsoever, and it's like that every mountain you look at, it's just like little tiny sticks sticking up. It looks like a little brush, a fine brush, and it's like direct sun all day. I didn't even get the puppy on camera. I wish I would have. We ran into a few pups on day one. One was this wonderful golden retriever. It just kind of walked up to us, like hello, and then its owner came up behind us.
He described his dog the best way I've ever heard someone describe a dog. He called him a fine fella.
But he had a very, very thick Southern accent, like Savannah, Georgia style accent. So it was very smooth when he said it. It was very nice. It was a very beautiful and touching scene. And the pup was kind of old, but a very beautiful golden retriever. See, look at all that water. It was not like that the last time. I mean, we were struggling to find stuff like that.
Are you okay? You getting overheated?
Yeah, last time we came out, that would have been like,
Dry.
yeah, well, yeah, it would have been dry, but finding that would have been awesome. You want to get down, girl? I know, I'm generating too much heat. The video is going to be like half us talking and half of Jesse breathing.
I just hope it picks everything up right on the first take.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what was it after Siler? Of course, we stopped somewhere and somebody said, we got passed by someone who's like, oh, there's a picnic table down at the bottom. So we had already stopped and got water, but we were like, all right, well, we'll just go down and filter. Yeah, we filtered in that area.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, we'll go to the table. But by the time we got down there were already people at the table. So we're like, the picnic table. So we just moved on.
That's where we ran into Maria.
Yeah.
Was after that.
Right there.
Yep.
Deep in the jungles of Africa. No. We're at a spring right now. Sarai's filling up my Seanock bag with water. We're going to take that to the picnic area at Waya Gap or whatever, and we're going to filter water there. And we're going to make our way up to Wine Spring Camp. And I think that's where we're going to call it for today because I don't know, it's a little hot. My feet are kind of mush now from coming downhill to Waya Gap. I hate going downhill. I do much better on uphills. And the climb out of the last area, Bald, that we were at, Silas Bald or whatever it was, the shelter there. You'd think I would remember. I was literally just there. That kind of destroyed Sariah. So we'll see how we feel once we get to camp. And then tomorrow will kind of be a deciding day on some things.
I have to explain that. I am a devious bastard, and I'm always making plan Bs. And what I was talking about there was I was concocting the plan to get off trail at the NOC because I was just when we go out and we start to struggle and things start to feel like they're not going smooth, I start to be like, okay, maybe we should have an out, or at least a plan for an out. So I start kind of developing that. And but I always try to weigh it against, like, I don't want to just say, oh, screw this, we're done. So I was like, let's see how we feel tomorrow, let's see how things go, but let's keep in the back of our mind the potential possibility of ending our trip early. I do it every single time. It doesn't matter. If there's two things I do consistently, it's right before we're about to go do something, I want to not do it. And then when we are out there doing it, I'm trying to make a plan B to get out of continuing to do it. But there is a point where, like, if we would have progressed past the NOC this past trip, all bets would have been off. We would have finished it out. I just knew the NOC was the only place we were going to be able to get a shuttle to pick us up. So it was, to me, it was like the only opportunity for hard out, guaranteed hard out. So I just wanted there to be options.
So this would have been after we talked to Maria, because we talked to her, when we talked to her, we were right there at a gap. I don't remember what the gap was called, but
There's way it got.
so then we had to climb back up again to get up to our camp spot.
The weird thing about Waya is that there's the Waya Gap, which you hit first going northbound, then there's Waya Bald, and then there's Waya Shelter. And they're all separated by like a half a mile or a third of a mile or something like that. Like it's weird. It's like, you figure they'd be close together, but they're not. Yeah, we're really kind of struggling here. This was the climb up after we talked to her. Because it kind of just went road up. And I think this was our last up for the day. And I can tell by the timeline that we're kind of, it's coming to the end. So I think around this point we're trying to look for, we're starting to look.
For somewhere to camp.
Yeah. We always get to that point where we, like, if we don't have a dedicated place where we're going to stay, which we usually don't, because we've never been out here before. So you can say, oh, we'll stay at this shelter or this campground or whatever, but if you've never been there before, you really don't know.
Junction of this.
Another fire service road.
So he's up to Wild Bald.
Or maybe that was it.
We filtered here. This is where we filtered to get water to take to camp.
Has been a lot of miles, but it's been a long time.
I was totally wiped out at this point, and I knew we still had more of a climb to go.
I thought we didn't take water to camp, though.
We did.
Apparently we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you're right, because I remember going down that road a little bit and getting it. You
So
can see all those gnats.
that's something too, like when you are getting ready to go to camp, like everybody does things different. We tend to take a lot of water with us. And so when we know we're going to camp at night, we usually will carry extra water because you're usually up in elevation, and you might as well just take water with you if you're gonna cook and what have you, have enough water to get down the next morning.
Okay, we shit. Okay, we got a little before Wine Spring camp, and goddamn, sorry, I got gnats all over me. Yeah, it's Gnat City out here. Yeah, Wine Spring camp. We are about 0.3 miles away from that. We found this little area. We decided we're gonna just set up here. We've already cooked, we've already hung our bear bag, and now we're gonna call it a night. It's like, I don't know, almost 8, I think. And yeah, the gnats are extreme. So that's day one. We only did 7.9 miles. It's not great, but I mean, it is what it is. We're not trying to set a world record, and we're not trying to blow ourselves out. So we're gonna see what we can do tomorrow. We may have to do 7.9 again tomorrow, and then do an 11.5 day 3 to get to NOC. We're still weighing the options. We're gonna see what it's like tomorrow. Every mile we add adds more elevation. So, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research to find out how much farther we have to go beyond where we're looking at to find another place to hang. Or we could find a place like this. It's a crapshoot. You never know. So, all right, later.
But that's the end of this video. We're going to pick it up in the next video and go day 2. So hopefully you check that out. So thanks for watching.
Bye.